Hey guys, welcome to MNMM PT NAATI. This is Mohit. Today's video is for PT academic students only. I will be covering summarized spoken text. I'll do one question for you and I'll show it to you like a sample question of how to, take notes in summarized spoken text, what is the template we will be using, and how to write a summary. Now, before I start this video, I want to share that if you're after PT academic coaching, PT core coaching, or Nati Hindi, Punjabi, Gujarati coaching, then you can always contact us using Facebook or Instagram. Simply search for M and MMPT Nati, or in the description below, you'll have links for Instagram and Facebook. You can use those links and contact us, talk to us about coaching, and we are more than happy to help you. We also have prediction files for Nati, Hindi, Punjabi, and Gujarati. So if you're after prediction files, you can contact us using Facebook and Instagram. Now let's start with summarized spoken text for PT Academy. The first thing we need to understand is the basics. Like, we are aware that it's part of our listening section, the very first question. So out of 8 topics that you get in listening, the very first is summarized spoken text. You can expect 1 or 2 questions in exam, and the scores will go to both listening and writing section because you're first listening to an audio and then you're writing down the summary based on the information you've heard from the audio. So the weightage would be 5 to 10 marks in listening and 5 to 10 marks in writing out of 90. Now, this would be the template that we would be using for summarized spoken text. We also have this template in the description below. You can download it from there and you can save it so that you can use it for future. Now, this template has been personally used by me. I've got my 90 each using this template. So it is all tested and it has also been used by several students of ours and they've got their desired score. People have got 90 each, people have got 8 each, 7 each. Based on their desired score, they've got their marks. So this template is absolutely reliable and you can use this template to get your scores for summarized spoken text. Now, we will be having these 4 sentences. We have to understand something, that the audio we get would be anything between 60 to 90 seconds. Now, you get 10 minutes per question. If you take the audio time out, audio time is, by the way, included in these 10 minutes per question. So if you take the audio time out, you have only a little left. Now you don't have 10 minutes left. Let's say you have 8 to 8.5 minutes left based on how long the audio was. What you have to understand is you have to make sure that you take good notes and you do a good note taking practice. Otherwise, if your notes are not good, you will not be able to write a good summary. Now, I've seen a lot of students writing keywords or they will be writing phrases which don't make any sense. We have to understand something, that this question is also giving marks to writing section. So we have to understand that grammar is important. Whatever summary you write has to be grammatically correct. If your summary is not grammatically correct, you will not get a good score. So if you look at the template, now there are 4 sentences in template. The first one says the lecture is primarily focusing on first sentence from the note taking. Okay. Then we have, in addition to this, the lecture also highlighted about second sentence from note taking. Okay. There is also emphasis about third sentence from note taking. In conclusion, the lecture described that last sentence from note taking. So that means you have to take 4 sentences from the audio because you need 4 sentences for your to fit in your template. Now, you can either take 4 sentences from the audio or 4 phrases from the audio. Let us understand how phrases are different to sentences. Now, you may get a very long, lengthy sentence in the audio. Let's say the length of that sentence is 16 words. And while taking notes, you've understood that I can't write down full sentence because it's too long. It's very difficult to remember. And you decide to, let's say, maybe write a part of it. Let's say half of that sentence. Now that part of the sentence, that half of the sentence you've written is called a phrase. Group of words, they are called phrases. But in this case, you have to make sure that whatever part of sentence you've written, that should make sense. If you've written something that doesn't make sense, it won't work. For example, let's say we have a big sentence that says spring begins in October in Australia and it ends in December, whereas summer begins in December and ends in March. Now that, let's say this sentence is a very long sentence. So this whole thing is called a sentence. And if it's in the audio, you may think I can't write this full sentence because it's too lengthy. And you decide to write a part of it, a phrase. What is it that you decide? You've decided, let's say, spring begins in October in Australia and ends in December. That's it, first half. But whatever you wrote, it makes sense. You've not written about the last half, which is the summer part, but whatever you've written, it makes sense. That is the key to understand that in summarized spoken text, you need 4 phrases or sentences, but they all need to be meaningful. They all need to make sense because the summary you write should make sense and should be grammatically correct. And obviously, the spellings also need to be correct. If you do this, you get your marks for your content, you get your marks for your vocabulary, for grammar, for spellings, and now the word count. Now, as per Pearson, your summary should be between 50 to 70 words. We recommend you write a summary between 60 to 69 words. That will give you a great score. Okay. Now, what I'll do is I'll play an audio. I'll not move on to the next slide and show my notes. First, I want all of you to try and write 4 meaningful phrases or sentences from the audio that I play. Once the audio finishes, we'll come back and discuss my notes. Okay, let's start.
Dogs are noted for their extreme friendliness towards humans. They crave human company and gaze intently at their human companions. The partnership between dogs and humans stretches back tens of thousands of years into prehistoric times. It has worked out surprisingly well for dogs, who, with human backing, have become Earth's most abundant land carnivore. Dogs evolved from wolves through a process of domestication by humans. Even when they're hand-raised by humans, modern wolves seldom show the degree of devotion to humans that dogs do. This has led scientists to suspect that the hypersociality of dogs towards humans is more than just a learned trait and has to do with evolved genetic differences between dogs and wolves. In 2022, a team of American geneticists published findings identifying genetic differences between dogs and wolves that may be responsible for the special canine attachment to humans. On chromosome number 6 of the dog genome, the researchers identified several genes associated with dog hypersociality. Interestingly, these genes correspond to parts of the human genome that are also involved in social behavior. Specifically, mutations in the corresponding part of the human genome can lead to a rare condition called Williams-Beuren syndrome. People with this syndrome have hypersocial behavior like that of dogs, along with certain cognitive deficits. Researchers have found evidence that dogs may have cognitive deficits like those of people with this syndrome. The findings might tell us far more than just how social devotion to humans evolved in dogs. Given the genetic similarities, they may tell us much about how social behavior evolved in humans.
Now, what I'll do is I'll share my 4 phrases, sentences that I've written from this audio, and let's see what I've done. So if we look at these 4 sentences that I've written, the first one is, dogs are noted for their extreme friendliness towards humans. First one, makes sense? Yes. Second, it has worked out surprisingly well for dogs. Makes sense. Third, dogs evolved from wolves through a process of domestication by humans. Again, makes sense. Last, given the genetic similarities, they may tell us how social behavior evolved in humans. Now, I have written 4 sentences from this audio and they are all making sense. If you look at my notes, I haven't made any changes and I've written the way they were in the audio because I have to understand that content plays a crucial role. And when I'm taking notes, I should make sure I write it the way it was said in the audio, because at least when I'm writing my notes, I should not be putting my own input. I already have a template where I've used words which will give me vocabulary score, and that is enough. Apart from template, I should not be adding my own content in note taking. Note taking should stick to whatever you heard from the audio. Now, When you combine your notes with your template, sometimes you might have to make minor grammatical changes. Maybe you'll have to change the tense of a word, or skip a word, or maybe add a word. That minor change is okay because you're trying to make grammatical sense. But apart from that, there is no need to paraphrase the entire note taking sentence and use synonyms and all that. That is not needed. Now, let's combine the template and this like the notes, and see how will our summary look like. So if you look at this, whatever is in yellow color is the are the sentences from notes, and the white part is all the template. The lecture is primarily focusing on dogs are noted for their extreme friendliness towards humans. The first sentence from notes and from the template. Now, the summary should look like this: one paragraph. You don't have to write summary in bullet points, it has to be one paragraph. Second, in addition to this, the lecture also highlighted about it has worked out surprisingly well for dogs. Third, there is also emphasis about dogs evolved from wolves through a process of domestication by humans. Next is, in conclusion, the lecture described that given the genetic similarities, they may tell us how social behavior evolved in humans. In total, this summary is of 68 words. Now, what we do, like Manmohit and myself, for our students, every student has their personal Telegram group. Okay, let's say, for example, your name is Rajvinder. We will create a group for you called Rajvinder PTE. And in that group, there is no other student. It's only this student and two teachers, myself and Manmohit. Now, this student has a study plan to follow. They exactly know what are they supposed to do on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so on and so forth. Based on that study plan, they'll put their homework in their personal Telegram group, and we give them one-on-one feedback every single day, all 7 days a week. We don't care if it's Saturday or Sunday or any weekday, we still give feedback every single day. And this feedback is the reason students will get their desired score. Only attending classes or going through videos or class recordings is not enough to get your desired score. You need someone who would look at your work, who would look at your summaries, your essays, everything, your dictations, even listen to your audios and tell you if you are doing the right thing or not. And this will save your time and money. And because you're not giving the exam again and again, what I've seen is people are giving exam multiple times, but they are not doing the right thing, and that is taking the guidance from the right person. That is why you're wasting your time and money, and you should avoid doing that. So if you are interested in someone who can give you feedback every day, every single day, one-on-one feedback, then you can contact us using Facebook, Instagram. We are more than happy to talk to you and assist you in getting your PT academic exam cleared in your first attempt. And this is something we do for NAATI as well, whether it is NAATI Hindi, Gujarati, Punjabi. Over there as well, we give one-on-one feedback all 7 days a week. With that, I'll take your leave. Thank you so much, and God bless all of you.